Hi folks, in this video let's learn about what tariffs are, how are they different from import duties and taxes, who pays for them, number 4, what are the pros and cons of using the strategy of tariffs, and at the end I'll talk about my personal thoughts on how this is going to be a good strategy or a bad strategy, what Mr. Trump is trying to do. Tariffs are very similar to import duties. They are meant to raise the price of products which are being imported into the country. They're very, very similar to the import duties. The purpose of both of them, you could say, that is very similar. Although import duties are a lot more standardized, they are on categories. The import duties remain as is for a very long period of time. The purpose is to protect the local production, local manufacturing, and so they are a lot more standardized, whereas tariffs can be applied the way it is being used right now by Mr. Trump. It could be brought in temporarily, or it could be applied as a bargaining chip on a certain category of products. I'll use an example and I'll clarify what is the difference between a tariff and an import duty versus, sometimes a lot of people I'm seeing, they're confusing it with the taxes. I'll explain also how it is different from taxes. Let me explain the tariffs and duties and import duties using an example. Let's take an example of the chocolates. Let's imagine that the whole category of chocolates, the government decides that, if you're going to be importing chocolates from outside of the country, let's put a 10% import duty on them. So all chocolates, be it from the French or the Belgium or any other country where they may be coming from, you put a 10% import duty on that. Now, this is where it's fairly standard. So a $10 bar, now it's going to be paying $1 of import duty on a $10 bar. The second is, you suddenly notice, or the government realizes that, Belgium is doing extremely well and almost eating away our market. So, and we want to give our chocolate producers in-house a fair chance to compete in this market. So why not put a tariff on Belgian chocolates? So let's add another 25% tariff on the Belgian chocolate. That way, now the chocolate which is specifically coming from Belgium is going to be 25% more expensive. So this is how the tariff is used to temporarily increase the prices of products which could protect your industry or a certain industry overall. Now, lastly, let's talk about the taxes itself. In both cases, even if I have a domestically produced chocolate or a French chocolate or a Belgian chocolate, which is also going through import duty and the tariff taxes, you still end up paying sales tax, when you buy that from the shop. So taxes are very different what an individual in the market is going to be paying. The tariff is the increased price for the importer, which is basically the merchant or the company which is selling it. You could be buying it from Walmart. If Walmart is bringing all of this, they are paying that import duty and they are also paying the tariff. So that is the difference between the two. So I hope you understand. Taxes are paid on all the standard in-house consumption in a country. Import duties are generally standard and they are applied across product categories. And tariffs are applied on certain subsections of products to raise prices temporarily so that, they could protect the national interests. So who pays the tariff or the import duties? Actually, eventually all these prices are rolled out or are paid by the end consumer. If I'm the one who's buying the chocolate, I'm pretty sure that Walmart has no interest in paying the import duties and the tariffs for me. I mean, if they pay, they pass on the prices to me as well. So the example of chocolates, what we took, even if an imported chocolate is costing $11 by paying $1 import duty, the entire $11 is passed to me, plus some margin added by Walmart on top of it, right? So that they can make money on it. Similarly, if the administration decides to put taxes, which is import duties and both tariffs on this Belgian chocolate, and I buy the Belgian chocolate, I'm paying the $10 fee, I'm paying the $1 import duty, plus I'm paying the 25% tariff which has been levied on this chocolate, plus anything which the retailer wants as their markup on the product. So eventually it is the end consumer who ends up paying for the tariff. Here are some benefits which you get from going with the tariff strategy. One, like I said, it for the short term, it will help you protect your own industries, give them some sort of a boost in the market, right? If, let's say, if Mr. Trump is trying to boost a lot of local manufacturing and encourage people to set up in industry within the United States, this could help, especially if he puts tariff on those subcategories for those industries to flourish. Number two, this can also help build up sectors for critical industries in-house, right? And this could actually help boost some of the critical products they're manufacturing within the country. And number three, as we've seen in the case of Colombia, what happened day before yesterday, it can also be a pretty strong bargaining chip, especially with countries where your trade, basically your imports and exports, are not equal. The places where you have a ton of import happening and very little export, those situations, the country on the other side has a lot to lose. So using tariffs as a bargaining chip, I think that's the best thing or best use of using tariffs more than anything else. Now let's look at some of the negatives what tariffs have. The number one thing is this can actually raise prices for the consumer. When Mr. Trump says that he's going to put tariffs, and he aggressively unilaterally thinks that he's going to put tariffs on the whole world, I don't think that is what he actually intends to do, because this is a very dangerous situation. If he ends up putting large tariffs on China and countries like India, US actually will end up losing a lot, because the local consumer in the US market will have to pay a lot more prices for the same products, because the prices will go up. And obviously, like I said, by the example, the middleman, the importer, the business in between, they are not the one who are going to be bearing the prices of all of these tariffs. They will basically put this price together and they'll pass it on to the end consumer. So same product which you were buying yesterday for $10 could end up costing you about $13, $14, $15, eventually raising a lot of price. Number two, it could actually lead to tensions in the global marketplace and sort of trade wars between countries if this is extensively used as a global strategy, or something to kind of corner all the countries. By the way, just a side note, in 2018 also, during the first administration of Mr. Trump, they had used tariffs. They had put tariffs on the steel and aluminium. I was just reading about this, and I found that they had about put 25% and 10% respectively tariffs on the import of steel and aluminium coming from China. This created a lot of drama in the international trading market. So yes, it did bring some jobs in the United States. It did help the economy a little bit from that perspective of setting up businesses in the market, in the domestic market, but it also ended up frightening the whole European Union and several other countries. There were again sanctions put against United States on agriculture products which were being sent to US. So again, that's the whole culmination of trading wars between the countries. If one of the country is being very heavy-handed. So I don't think there is a recorded history of major benefits from the sanctions which were applied in 2018. Now let's talk about what my personal opinion on the whole strategy for tariffs is. While I'm a big fan of how Mr. Trump is communicating at a global stage and how aggressively he's taking the charge, the whole perspective on how the tariff should be applied is going to be a very dangerous game to play, right? It can lead to a trading war between countries, especially countries where US does a lot of import. There is sensitivity to be exercised in my point of view. So China, Canada, Mexico, European Union, these are the countries from where America has a lot of dependence in terms of its imports. Similarly, these are the countries where a lot of exports also take place. Now, fiddling with these countries, raising and putting tariffs could automatically mean that those countries would also fight back, put tariffs back on United States, which will raise the prices, stifle the whole supply chain globally. So it's not as straightforward as it seems. But pricing is a very, very sensitive subject in itself, right? We see in the market that when the prices of products go up, for example, when look at any category of products, unless it's an essential product without which we cannot live, like food or water, people will stop spending if the prices are going up. Now, in that sense, putting any type of tariffs on products is like putting a speed bump on a highway. So using it as a negotiation technique could work, but again, I feel that has to be done sparingly. For every conversation, if Mr. Trump starts bringing the notion of tariffs and trying to scare the countries, I think after some time that point might become a fluke of sorts, and countries may not really take it very seriously. So I think he has to exercise it also sparingly and only when really needed. These are very early days of his administration, the second term. So I can expect a lot more heroics and a lot more dramatics up front. But I think as things settle down, Mr. Trump is going to be also, going a little slow with how easily he says out today on applying tariffs. But I hope you learned something from this video, and if you have any questions, put it in the comments. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.